Really quick, this is an intro video for 21 acres at the Jesse James project. It's a combination of tract 16 and tract J. Tract 17 and tract J. Tract 17 being 16 acres and tract J being 5 acres. This is one of the few instances where as we saw the combinations of tracts, these two tracts are actually together. They actually do touch. So they both border James Creek. The 16 acres borders it along its entire south side, and the 5 acres borders it along its entire north side. So you can see here you actually do have two contiguous properties. This map, we use these for informational purposes. This shows it going to the side of the creek. It actually does go to the center of the creek bed. So these properties do border in this spot right here. So if you're not super familiar with the Jesse James project, the reason we've sold a lot of these tracts in pairs, numbered with lettered, is the lettered tracts on the south side you can generally get to in a normal pickup or an SUV, potentially even a car. And then the numbered tracts on the north side of James Creek, you're going to want ideally a side-by-side or a four-wheeler. We've been to most of the tracks on the north side, even with the truck, but the truck suffered a few scratches, so you definitely want to be aware of that. So the idea is you've got your tract on the south side, where you could come in with your truck, potentially pulling your four-wheeler or your side-by-side. You can get set up, and then you can venture over to your tract on the north side of James Creek by using your four-wheeler or your side-by-side. In this case, since the two tracks touch, that's pretty awesome. And in fact, you've actually got this little easement road that goes down the power line, crosses back over, and gives you access onto both of your tracks right there at James Creek. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a quick look at this. We'll start with tract J, the 5-acre tract. So you'll come off Cactus Road, that's the gravel road, take the gravel easement road in, it'll cut to the east, and when you get to this big overhead power line, you'll know that you're almost there. And let's zip in here. There we go. Essentially, that big overhead power line is where, I guess what you would call the better road stops. But you've only got a few hundred feet to go to your tract J. Now this doesn't show it, but tract J actually does have a little driveway and a cleared site on it. I believe it's somewhere here toward the south side, but you'll see the driveway that comes right in, goes in, 100, 200 feet, and then you've got that clearing. So you can pull right in with your truck, your SUV. I believe the drone video for tract J shows that, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, we have been out there to verify that. The guys did do a driveway and a site there. So once you get past the big power line and get to the property, now you start to go down a hill. And it's a fairly steep hill. Again, we've been up and down it 100 times with a pickup truck, but you are better off with a four-wheeler or a side-by-side. You cross right over James Creek and keep on going. And then you can go one of two ways to get to the other tract. Actually, we're not to the other tract yet. So let's finish up on tract J. Let's go to the topo map. Okay, so this topo is showing us. This topo to me is a little confusing because every topo we've ever used for 20 years, the contour lines indicate an elevation change of 20 feet. So that would make this extremely steep. In reality, on this topo map, the contour lines indicate an elevation change of 10 feet. So for whatever reason, this base map makes this property look twice as steep as it would any of the other topo maps we've ever used. So it was weird when we got involved in this project. We went out there, we looked at it, then we saw the topo map, and we were like, what? It just wasn't that steep. How can that be? Well, we noticed on this particular topo, the lines are every 10 foot of elevation change. So the way we try to look at it at the Jesse James project to make it normal in our heads is kind of mentally pull out every other topo line, and that'll give you a better understanding. But what it's showing is still true. The property's the highest on the south, slopes down pretty aggressively as you go north. That's why I think that the driveway and the site are right here toward the south part, because they wanted to get it on somewhat of a level area. Slopes down, obviously, as you go to the north to the creek, and then the creek is going to be the lowest point of the property. So as long as we're here, let's jump into the 16 acres, and that's telling us Again, the lowest point is going to be right there where James Creek is on the whole south side. Slopes up as you go northerly, and actually you've got a large level area here on the north side. So you've got the easement road system, which gives you access up to that north side, and then you've got multiple areas that are set back quite a ways from any easement roads where you could potentially do a campsite or even a little hunting cabin or something like that. So that's a pretty good look at both of these properties, both very usable. And let's go back to the aerial. There we go. So James Creek itself, we think is one of the prettiest little creeks we've ever seen. The topo maps, the maps and whatnot that we have show Mill Creek as being kind of the major creek and James as being smaller. But a lot of times when we've been out there, James Creek is flowing and Mill Creek is not. So just an interesting side note. I think we have some videos that kind of show James Creek, and we don't call anything a year-round creek, and it may dry up at certain times throughout the year, but we did see some little minnows and fish in James Creek, which is a pretty good indicator that there's water in there throughout most of the year, or those fish just wouldn't be there. So there you go, 21 acres at the Jesse James project. Very nice combination of tracts. I think someone's going to be really excited to get these. Obviously, the hunting out here is just phenomenal. In fact, this tract, the northern 16 acres, is what the guys have been calling Turkey Ridge basically since day one, because they kept hearing and seeing turkeys right there on this property. So that kind of earned the name Turkey Ridge for the north part of the 16 acres. But yeah, gorgeous tract. Hope someone really enjoys it. If you have any questions, please let us know.